Hey, Trent and Carmen Post here, and we're on our final episode about sexual abuse. And we've had 3 so far, and this is our 4th and final one.
Wow, 4 episodes on sexual abuse, guys, and we have not even scratched the surface. But it is our hope that you have been able to be encouraged, that you've been able to grab some tools to be able to talk to your kids about sexual abuse, that you've been made aware of some circumstances or situations that are happening in your life that maybe you just need to have your eyes a little bit more open to. Our hope is that through this series, we've been very vulnerable. We've shared some really private things with you, but the reason we have is because we want you to experience the healing and the freedom and forgiveness that we have experienced.
Yeah, and if you missed those, you can go to Spotify. It's called Undone. And then if you want to watch the videos, you can go to YouTube and look up Carmen Post and check those out. We were vulnerable. We shared our stories. But we also gave some good research, some good tools that can help us fight against this terrible issue of sexual abuse. And so today, the final episode, we're going to be covering on who is doing the sexual abuse and where it's happening.
So as we talk about sexual abuse, guys, this can be a super scary thing, right? And a lot of times, we can be paralyzed by our fear. We do not want you to be paralyzed by your fear. Instead, we want to create an awareness in your heart, because once we're aware of something, we can step into it and we can be a part of the solution. And so instead of letting fear drive anything that you've heard for us, please allow it to be just an opportunity to be aware and to be a part of the solution. The statistics are super scary, guys.
Yeah, very.
93% of the abusers know the victims. Too often we think that it's strangers that are doing this to kids, but 93% of the abusers know the victims. Out of that, 34% are family members, 59% are acquaintances, and 7% are a stranger. We think so often that it's strangers doing this to our kids, guys, but it is our family. It is people we know, people that we trust, people that are supposed to be protecting our kids. There were 63,000 cases reported to Child Protective Services. And in that, it was most often the parent that was doing the abuse. 80% out of the 63,000 were the parents that were abusing the child. 6% were a relative. 5% were a sibling or a stranger. And 4% were, that broken family where mom and dad have boyfriend and girlfriends. It was the unmarried partner. 4% were the boyfriend or girlfriend. And so 40% of children that are sexually abused are abused by older children. 60% of kids that are abused by people the family knows and the family trust. And so we want just to encourage you and please hear us that it's not strangers. It's not often strangers that are abusing our kids. We have to have our eyes open. We have to know who our kids are around.
Yeah, even in our own stories, and we've shared this, our abusers were people that we're supposed to trust, people that were supposed to protect us.
Yeah.
Who were yours?
Yeah, guys, my abuser was a woman. She was a wife to someone. She worked in a daycare. She was there to protect and to take care of me while my parents worked. It was my babysitter. Again, it was people that my family knew, trusted, that were put in a place to take care of me, and they actually just took advantage of me as a vulnerable child.
Yeah, my abuser when I was 9 years old was a girl from the neighborhood, someone that should be trusted, went to school with my brothers, and while my mom had to work or do different things, she would be my babysitter. So I fell into that 40%, being abused by an older, stronger child. And she was, once again, babysitter, supposed to be trusted, supposed to be protecting me, but actually abused me, which we shared about the effects of that and how it affected me, but not only many kids when that type of stuff happens. And so no one's exempt.
No one's exempt.
Parents, babysitters, caregivers, pastors, friends, and so we have to have eyes wide open and just be attentive. And so let's, think about sexual abuse, it's rarely physical. By physical force, let me say. It's mostly rather like manipulation, tricking the child or the parents, the people that they trust. There's a term called grooming where they groom the parents, they groom the children, they take time and they build this trust. It's premeditated and they manipulate through even good or nice ways, but then there's also manipulation out of fear. That, hey, if you do this, I'm going to hurt you or I'm going to hurt your family or if you do this, you're going to be in trouble, or your parents are going to get divorced because of you. So it's a manipulation by fear.
Yep.
But it's rarely by physical force. But it can happen over many weeks,
Yep. Weeks, and
years,
yeah.
everything. It's not a one-time thing, sexual abuse. Rape, we look at as a one-time thing. They were raped and then it's over. But sexual abuse can happen over a long period of time. So we have to be watching. That term, I like it, eyes wide open, and just being attentive. Another scary thing is a third of all cases are incest-based, which basically just means that it's happening within the families.
Yep.
Dads, brothers, sisters, cousins, and so
uncles,
most of the time it is.
grandparents.
I mean, a third of the cases. So we have to be attentive in our own families.
Yep.
And so let's talk a little bit more about who. Right, that's what
Yeah.
today's about. Who. We have child-on-child abuse, and then we have adult-on-child abuse, which is kind of speaks for itself. But that child-on-child abuse can be tricky. And so we want to talk about that a little bit, because I know when we were children, we shared this. We explored our bodies, or our friends' bodies. We played house. We played doctor. We went into the closet to, hey, I'll show you yours. You show me mine. And that can just be curiosity.
Yep.
Straight curiosity, or it can be that they have seen something on TV, or we're allowing as parents our kids to put things in their mind that are not child or age appropriate.
Yep.
Or they've walked in on mommy and daddy doing the naked cuddle.
It's true. It's happened.
And so this can happen out of curiosity, or innocent things that they may have seen by accident, or worst case, that they have actually been abused and now they are acting out what has been done onto them, onto other kids. And so there's a couple things that we can do to tell them apart, right? This child on child. One of them is was there physical force? Was it done, by the child taking over the other child and it being done? Was there threats? Was the child threatening the child in any type of way to make it happen? Was there like a trickery, or, hey, let's, manipulation, going back to that, looking for that. And is it deliberate? Was it premeditated? Was it planned out? Or did the child understand but just goes along without comprehending? These are just some things to look for when, hey, maybe we catch our children in the act of doing this, walk in a room where we sit down and we try to look for these points. Mm-hmm. Because if we see that one of the children has one of these, even one, let's just say one, and it's strong, we really need to look to that child in a deeper way, because it's a good indicator that this child has actually been abused.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what a pedophile is. Okay. So a pedophile is an individual who prefers to have sex with children instead of adults. And so this goes into that adult and child sexual abuse. Pedophiles are really skilled at planning alone time with our kids, guys. So if you see an adult that is spending a significant amount of time with your child alone, please be curious. Don't just allow it to happen. Or if you see an adult spending significant amount of time, alone time with another child, ask questions, dig deep, be nosy, dive into that, because you could possibly stop someone from hurting your child or stop someone from sexually abusing another child. We've got to have our eyes wide open, and we have to be aware of things that are going on around us. And in episode 3, we actually discussed ways to protect our kids. So you can dive back into that episode just to get a little bit more, but be aware of any time an adult is spending alone time with a child. It's just not healthy.
And a little bit on that, just to expand, going back to that grooming term. It's a huge issue nowadays. I know we said it's majority of the time not strangers, but this does happen. There is very strategic pedophiles out there on the social medias, on the Facebook, on the Instagram, on the TikTok, and all those ones that we hear about, and they are out there and they are smooth, and they are trying to get your children, our children, and then they abuse them. Sometimes we even hear the horror stories of killing them or being sex trafficked and never seeing the child again. So even next month we'll be talking about parenting and talking to our children. That's a huge thing in social media with our kids.
Yeah. And so what we really want you guys to understand is that sexual abuse is happening within our own homes. Sexual abuse abuse is happening within the homes that our kids are actually going to visit, whether it's our family member's house, whether it's their friend's house. Like, it's taking place inside of our homes and other homes. It's happening inside of our schools. It's happening inside of our church. And we're not saying like bottle your kid up and protect them, but talk to your kids. Sometimes we don't talk to our kids because we're scared. We don't know what to say. It's uncomfortable and it makes you feel away. But here's the thing, if you don't talk about it with your children, it's more likely that they're going to keep it a secret from you and they're not going to feel safe to come and tell you. So just start talking to your kids about stuff. Kids know things anyway. And so just be aware that it's happening. Always go with your gut feeling. If you feel like something's not right, it's probably not right, and you need to go with that gut feeling. The worst thing is you could be wrong, but the best thing that could happen is you're right, and you're protecting your child or another child from being a victim of sexual abuse. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about, a lot of you guys have reached out to us and just shared your stories with us. And we just want to say thank you so much for sending us your messages, your emails, and sharing your personal stories of sexual abuse. We have you on our prayer board. If I have heard from you, you've shared your story, we have your names. We have prayers for healing, prayers for forgiveness, prayer for those that had hurt you and the things that you've shared. And so we just want to say thank you so much for entrusting us with your story. We would still love to hear your story. If you haven't reached out, you can go to carmenpost.com. You can go into the forgiveness tab, shoot us a message in Messenger if we're friends, Instagram, because we want to pray for you. We want you to experience the forgiveness and healing that we have.
Yeah, we're not alone. You're not alone. We're in this together. Man, that brings a close to the series for now.
Yeah.
An intense series because sexual abuse is one of those really hard topics and one that's taboo and people don't like to talk about, but we need to talk about it. We need to be talking about this issue, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about this issue. But we shared our stories, we shared the effects of it, the abuse on our lives and on kids' lives. We asked that question, can we protect our kids? But tried to give us some tools, some signs, some things to look for, and then today, who and where. And so that's it for this series of sexual abuse. But the purpose, once again, of these videos is to be an encouragement, a blessing to you guys. You're not in it alone.
And just remember from episode 3, like when God spoke to my heart, even if someone sexually abuses your kids, God is still a God that can love, that can heal, and that can use it for goodness.
Yes, firmly believe that. We've seen it in our own lives. And so, hey, that's it for this series. In February, we're going to be discussing some things about just parenting and how to talk to our kids, which, hey, kids are a blessing. Yes, they can be a challenge at times, but we love our kids. Once again, life experiences. We've learned so much along the way with them. We want to share that with you guys, that wealth of what we feel like we have. And so just keep staying tuned. Stay with us, whether it's the podcast, whether it's these videos. And thank you so much.
We'll talk to you later. Ciao.